Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. I am the Crypto Crow. It is Monday at about noon Eastern Standard Time. This is probably going to be a pretty long video, so I'm going to try and break it up in the comments with timestamps for everything. I don't do that very often, but I've got a lot that I'm going to talk about in this video, and so probably going to be necessary. One part of this video is probably going to freak you out. Now, there's a lot of sentiment. There's a certain way to look at things, but it may freak you out a little bit. So don't freak out too much, but I'm seeing some stuff that it just doesn't look good. It really doesn't look good, and at least in the short term. And I think there are a lot of reasons for what's happening, and I'm going to break it down here. So welcome, Poe Man, Destroyer, Kyle, what's going on? Thanks for joining me. I'm sure that'll probably fill up. I am live right now on Twitter and YouTube's. So we're going to go ahead and start diving into this because I really don't want to waste a lot of time. So let's go ahead and start looking at things. If we are looking at Bitcoin's dominance right now, you can see it is climbing back up a tad bit, not significant, but it's climbing back up a tad bit. Now, I called a peak of this. I was looking at it and I posted on Twitter. I'm like, Bitcoin's dominance just peaked, but I was looking at it from a perspective of where it hit around the 63-64% range. And right now we're working our way back up in the 61.5%. And I don't necessarily think we're going to go above 64. I think we're probably going to, if anything, we may bounce off of that and start working our way back down. Now, this is on a 2-day chart. So we're at Monday and we're going to work our way up. I can see us working our way back up, bouncing off of 62% somewhere probably on Wednesday. And we start working ourselves back down to potentially a Wednesday reversal from whatever happens today and tomorrow. I'm hoping, I'm praying, because I think the market and where it's at and the sentiment across the board right now is bad. Now, one of the big things I'm going to go over in this video is basically the top 20 crypto assets that are likely going to absorb the rest of the market. And when I say that, I mean, well, we're going to cover that when we get to that segment of this video, but I just wanted to kind of let everybody know what's coming. Because I believe that there's a big shakeout happening finally. And I honestly look at it as a pretty good thing, because I think what's happening right now is a lot of the trash is being shaken out. And I think it's going to start heading into the more risk-averse assets in the space. We're going to go over what I believe those are. So now we're going to look at, this is the micro Bitcoin futures. Now you remember all the way back here, I basically said that there was the CME futures gap, and that we could fill it, we may not. And when I thought about it, I thought this could be something to look into as we move further, like in a relatively short period of time. I actually thought that maybe once we peaked up here, that was going to take us all the way down, right? And of course we didn't do that. It's very choppy. It's been very choppy since then. And we've broken under this moving average here a couple of times now. And we typically bounce and move back up. The question is, do we continue moving to the downside for the rest of this month leading into next month? And when does this get filled? Does this effectively get filled once the market peaks completely sometime later in the year? Some say in early 2026, which I'm not completely sold on yet. Or does this happen in the more short term? I think this is going to be a longer term fill. I think this is something that's probably going to be filled on the downside after the peak. And there's so many nuances to this market right now. It is a little sketchy. I'm not going to lie. It's a little scary for me too. But I'm pretty sure I have a decent grasp as to what's going on. And I really do believe that this is all just a very big shakeout. I think that, quite honestly, I feel that what's happening right now is punishment for all the degenerates in the space. And we're going to cover this in more detail. But I think this is punishment for all the degenerates in the space trying to get rich quick on a lot of these shit coins. That's what I think is happening. And I think it's almost like we're sifting for gold. We're basically trying to get rid of all of the wasteful, worthless pebbles in the space. And I think that this is an institutional play doing some of this. And it's trying to get rid of all of the degenerates in the space. That's what I think is happening. The people that are really here and investing in like strong layer 1 tech, layer 2 tech, stuff that really plays a big role in the space and the growth of the ecosystem. If you look at the climate we're in right now, politically, what's happening across the globe, I think it's like, all right, you know, we've had our fun in the sense of we've let a lot of the degenerates control everything for long enough. Now it's time for the grown-ups to come back in and like get rid of the trash, get rid of the waste. We've got to clean up house. And then once we've cleaned up a bit, then we're able to move forward. It's kind of like sometimes, you know, on a Monday morning, or even a Sunday evening for that matter, you know, I expect to be really busy. There's a lot of stuff that I want to accomplish in the week moving forward, and I need to clean the house. I need to clean my room. I want to clean my office. I want to start with a fresh slate moving forward. I don't want any random obstacles getting in the way of my growth that week. That's what I think is pretty much happening right now. And we're seeing it, and we're seeing it across the board because we're going to look at it. If we look at Cardano, you know, Cardano's really not doing terrible. I mean, it's dropped a hair. We've wicked down to 71. It was at 70 cents. Yeah, we've wicked down to 70 cents. We could continue to go a little bit further. We could break into the 60s. From there, we're looking at like 59 cents. Does this happen? We'll see what happens throughout the course of this week. I'm not saying it can't, not saying it won't. But if you look at the way the market is being structured right now, there's a lot more heavy bleed out of more degenerative assets right now. I mean, it's just, that's what's happening. If we look at Solana right now, I mean, this is case in point. You know, this is just continuing to drop further and further. Right now, it's down almost 50%. Okay. And this is a really big deal because I really do believe to some extent, this is a complete washout. The peak of this, in local timeframes was just January of this year. And it peaked up at almost $300. Now it's down to 155 freaking dollars. And I think it's going to continue getting lower. And I'll tell you what I think is happening, and I'll tell you why when we get to that point. If we look at the light or the liquidation heat map, I was going to call it the light map. Man, it's just not fun. But, you know, I mean, this is easily going to pull us down probably a little bit lower, down into the $93,000 range of Bitcoin. And there's still a lot of money building down here. But, you know, right up here at 96, around 96.5, this is like $107 million sitting here. 75, 80, 90 million dollars. You go further up here. I mean, it's building. This is building. And it's a matter of time until the market makers start moving it. But I believe that in order for us to start moving to this upside, we need some catalysts. And you know, just down here, you got 75 million. You come down here a little bit further, you got 100 million. I mean, this is going to be a lot easier to pick up. You got $120 million sitting here at 93,237. Okay. This is easy money for the market makers. This is easy money, especially right now when the market is looking the way it does. As it sits right now, in the last 12 hours, $221 million have been liquidated. And the longs are getting trashed, man. Longs are getting liquidated. $188 million to the almost $33 million in shorts. That's not helping. That's not helping the market. Longs keep getting their teeth kicked in. On a 4 hour, $151 million liquidated over the last 4 hours. A beautiful Monday. $381 million wrecked over the last 24 hours, 319 million of which are longs. So going long in this market right now is, you know, and the thing of it is a lot of these folks are using high leverage. It's how they're getting liquidated. You know, if you don't want to get liquidated, but you want to be able to trade with more than you've got, use like 3 to 5x, man. That should be the extent of it. And you know, if you're using more than that, you're really begging to get wrecked. I mean, that's just how it boils down. I mean, you're really begging to get wrecked. So here's what we're going to be doing for the rest of this video. I'm going to be covering the top 20 assets that I believe are going to absorb the rest of the market. And you can see from Solana, Solana, of course, in my opinion, being the grand poobah of the degenerate chains in the market, I believe that not only is Solana going to get hit and continue getting hit, I think there's going to be a transition of the value in Solana and associated chains, associated applications and projects. Basically, I almost look at Solana like a RICO case, as sad as it is, because you've got the kingpin of it all, and then you've got the basically the captains underneath. We're going to cover a couple of those, and then you've got everything else, right? You've got your soldiers. You've got it's almost like a mafia RICO case to me, I'm really not just trying to dump on Solana because it's a Cardano competitor. I really don't give a shit. There are so many other projects out there. I'm going to be talking about one that's basically, I wouldn't call it a direct competitor with Cardano, but it was basically built off of the back of Cardano in a way. And, and I'm all for it because I think that it answers some questions for other people, and it gives people an opportunity to kind of start again with something that is a little fundamentally different than Cardano. But, and I don't have a problem with that. It's not the competition that bothers me. It's the way it competes, right? So anyway, we're going to talk about the top 20 crypto assets that are likely going to absorb the market. And then we're just going to move right down the list. And I've got a couple sponsor segments to cover. And so let's go ahead and get into this, shall we? All right, number one on the list, obviously, is Bitcoin. I really don't need to say much else. Bitcoin's obviously going to be the catalyst for a lot of what's going on. Number two on this list is Ethereum. Now, I know that everybody... there are a lot of issues with Ethereum still, right? There always have been. They're constantly changing things. I'm seeing so much Ethereum FUD. The reality is, folks, is way too many people have money in Ethereum, and it's always going to be a use case. Like, Ethereum is always going to be something people look at and look to achieve X, Y, or Z. It's not going to be the fastest. It's not the most scalable. It's got all of the issues that it has, but it's almost like, I'm not quite sure of a good analogy, but it's always going to be around in one way, shape, or form. Ethereum is what brought the world smart contracts. It's not going anywhere. Is it going to be a big runner? Is it going to be a big winner? Is it going to $10,000 in this year? I don't know. I don't really think so. Maybe it sees 8. I don't really know. But I do believe that a lot of the trash is going to start cycling back into Ethereum at some point, if it hasn't already. And I know that we're looking at the price action here. This is on a 24-hour. If you look at it on a year, you can see significant ebbs and flows in Ethereum's price. That's because it's still valuable. It's still doing things. But it is what it is. We're going to wait and see. Number 4 on this list is BNB. Now, here's the other caveat to this whole discussion here. I was doing some research on Grok 3, which, by the way, is phenomenal. If you're not familiar with Grok 3 on Twitter, it's currently free. I hope it stays that way. Man, it's deep research. I've been using it for so many things. You know what I'm going to tell you I'm going to do today? I'm going to drop some serious alpha on something at the end of this video. You're definitely going to want to watch, especially if you're into bot trading. It's not a sponsored thing or anything. It's something that I was doing. I've been working on through the weekend. And unfortunately for me, it requires Python to get it going. But I'm going to show you what Grok 3 and I did this weekend. And man, if you're a Python person, I posted on Twitter, like, I'm looking for somebody that knows Python that I can put to task for a little bit. Because I ran this through Replit and it built it. But unfortunately, I don't know enough about the back end to be able to change things the way they need to be changed. So I'm going to show you what I'm talking about, but you're going to want to stick around to the end for that, especially if you're into bot trading or you're a Python guy, because I basically discovered what the most profitable algorithmic bot trading system is today. And Grok told me, broke it all down as to why, compared it to everything else, and then told me how to build it. And I'm like, shit, if I were only a Python developer, all the books I have. But anyway, we're going to dive deeper into this. But but Grok pulled some of the data for some of these projects. And a lot of the top rankings are based on price action, price history, volume, tokenomics, on-chain metrics, right? And so that's how this list was basically created. So we're going to continue diving a little deeper here as we continue to move into this list. BNB, man, like, God, I remember when this is $20 and I wanted to load up on it and I just didn't. And I thought to myself, you know, I really wish I did. I really wish I did. Now, give me 1 second here because I want to change some things. Does that do this for everything? Yeah. Hold on a second. Damn it. I don't want to do that. Okay. Maybe that'll work. Sorry. I'm live and, you know, I don't want to do it this way, but I kind of have to. Is that working now? I think I should be good here in just a second. And that's going to be a good one. That'll be a good one. All right, cool. Now we're cooking with grease. Because quite frankly, this is showing some of the stuff I own, and I don't want everybody to know exactly everything that I own. So I had to log out because I do keep track of some of my stuff. I keep track of my assets in different ways in different places. Only because I just don't like everything. I don't like nothing I do is centralized. I mean, I tell you that right now. Like nothing I do is centralized. Everything I do is spread across multiple mediums, multiple this, multiple that, down to like how I log into stuff and how I keep track of like security and things. Even you know what? I won't even say, but I do so much stupid shit in the name of security, man, because I'm just so daggone paranoid. Yeah, you got to do it. You got to do it. So what was this? All right. Yeah. BNB token. So, what's up? Any update on Apex Fusion airdrops? I heard they are on a few exchanges now. We'll talk about that in a little bit, Jason Owen. So yeah, I mean, BNB, I personally don't like Binance Smart Chain and I don't really use BNB for anything, but you can't deny the fact that it continues to grow and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then when you're talking about the token that basically launched Binance, man, I really wish I would have loaded up on that. And, you know, I wish there was another like really viable exchange that did something similar to Binance with the token, you're earning dividends off of all the volume and all that. I know KuCoin. I haven't even followed KuCoin in so long, but I used to have some of those tokens, and man, I really wish I don't think we realized how good we had it in 2017, man. I really don't. You know, it is what it is, but we just don't realize how good we had it. And this is the Merlin portfolio. I do like to check this out. I like to use this here and there and keep track of my crypto portfolio. There's of course a link in the description below, so check it out. But this helps you keep track of pretty much every asset everywhere and anywhere it is. You can add up to 30 different API connections and unlimited manual wallets and exchanges. So basically you throw your APIs in and it pulls in every asset you have all over the place. And then it tells you what it's worth, what it's doing. It gives you news updates, basically keeps you well informed as to what's going on with all of the assets and all of your locations, all of your wallets, all of your exchanges, you name it. So make sure you check out Merlin. It's a really cool app. It really is. It kind of feels like using the Exodus wallet in a way, but it gives you more information, and and it's not an exchange. It's not an exchange, and it's not a wallet. It's a portfolio tracker, but it feels that way. The interface is similar. It's very fluid. It's very user intuitive, very, 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 very easy to use. So even you crypto newbies out there can keep track of everything you own and anywhere you have it. So make sure you check out the Merlin portfolio. Greetings to you, AR from Holland. All right, now we're going to look at one that I really don't like, but this is Solana. Now, here's what's going to happen. Because there are a couple assets in this list because of Grayscale. Grayscale, for whatever reason, decided to launch a report in December, and it listed some of these assets as some of the top assets in 2025, right? Of course, now we're seeing so far they're not doing so well. Grayscale is, and in that same report, in the same, and I'm going to show you the report, they don't mention Cardano at all. And I thought it's interesting how they list multiple Solana projects, but didn't list Cardano, right? And now we know, well, the sentiment's a little different now, right? Grayscale. So we'll see, but effectively, this is over the last year. You can see price peaked out. It's just dropping. And it found a bottom back here in September at around $124. Are we going to end up back there? We very well could with Solana. However, I think that some other things are happening. Now, I'm showing Solana because it was listed because of on-chain metrics, right? And, a lot of what I was asking is, what are the top assets based off of on-chain metrics, volume, etc., right? Because that's what everybody looks for. But what do we know about Solana now? After so much exposure to what actually happens, how the validators work, all of the on-chain data, how much stuff is like wash trading and fake volume and fake, right? We've seen it. We've seen it on chain. We've seen screenshots of so many different receipts basically proving this case over time. And I just think that now you have all of these meme coins, right? You've got Pump Fund, you've got all of this trash. I mean, sadly enough, we saw, and I've been seeing reports of this, and I'm not going to get in detail about it, but unfortunately there was a young gentleman who basically said, I'm going to, play this game, and if something happens, I want you to launch a coin. And of course something happened. And of course all the degens launched a coin in his name. Right. And I'm like, you know what? The degeneracy that's supported by this economy is absolutely mind-blowingly disgusting. And I really do wholeheartedly mean this when I say to everyone out there that's promoting this chain, truly you're trash. Like in every sense of the word, you're trash. And I don't care. I don't really care who you are. I really don't. I don't care. It used to be just about, all of the paid advertising and all of the false narratives, the way it would constantly attack Cardano while trying to boost itself, right? And all of the paid influencers out there that are just pumping it up, and they got these, whether it was early allocations or they just bought in at a lower price and they're just riding that wave of manipulation into the stratosphere of number go up, right? Just a bunch of people that, in my opinion, have completely sold out, sold their souls, sold their integrity, sold basically everything for a paycheck. And, and it's just like, okay, whatever. But I believe those people are trash. And I believe that the people that are still essentially trying to promote hope in Solana, I just feel like people are starting to see you. I'm just letting you know. People are starting to see you. And not only are they starting to see you, but they're starting to understand the game. And they're starting to understand what you're doing and why. And, you know, it doesn't take really a rocket scientist. I see even the newcomers to the space now are starting to realize what's happening. So on that note, if we're looking at Solana, we have to look at some of the other projects related to Solana. Jito, GTO, JTO, sorry. You know, this is like, if we look at it on a year, it doesn't look too bad because it hasn't done much over the past year. It's peaked out at around $5. It's come down, currently trading at 265. And, you know, effectively, this is a liquid staking protocol on Solana. Jito has experienced substantial growth and adoption over the past year and offers one of the best financial profiles in all of crypto, generating over $550 million in 2024 fee revenue. and I'm like, okay, cool, you know, cool, man. I don't see this lasting that much longer if everything that I believe is happening on the Solana ecosystem continues to happen. This hasn't done anything significant and it hasn't dropped significantly. Over the year, it's still fairly green, but you know, listen, if you got in early on this, that's fantastic. Good for you. All-time low of $1.45. Like, where did the price launch at $1.45? So technically it's only up 82.6% on the year. And you know, it peaked out at $6. Is this done? Is it over? Is this going to continue dropping? Where is this money going? Where is all of the value going to go from Solana, Jito? And look, we've got another one. This is Jupiter. Jupiter is the premier DEX aggregator on Solana, boasting the highest TVL among all applications on the network. As retail traders increasingly enter the crypto market through Solana and speculation intensifies around Solana-based meme coins and AI agent tokens, we believe Jupiter is well positioned to cap. This is all from Grayscale, by the way. This is Grayscale's analysis of the market, okay? And it lists a lot of these assets. And it's talking about, this was early this year. This was early, I think this came out January. And you know, we can see how things are changing now, okay? Grayscale's obviously pivoted on some things because there's one asset that's not listed on here. You got 3 different Solana-based assets, but you know what's not in here? Oh, well, there's Cardano there. Features of largest smart contract platforms by market cap. Okay, but that's not what I'm talking about. The Grayscale Research Top 20. Cardano's not in that list, okay? And if you look all the way through here, Cardano's not in this list, right? So they love their Solana. They love their Solana. And who wouldn't? If you're solely in the business just to make money and you care not else about how it's made, Solana's been good for a while. I think its days are numbered. I think its time is done. I think this market is over. I said that like 2 years ago. I really believe that this is it for Solana. And these assets that are being touted as being top assets in the space and all of that, I just think that they're going to fall right alongside Solana. I really do believe that. Now, the question is where's the money going to go? Well, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, I believe a lot of it's going to flow into Sui. Into this Suez Canal. It's currently down only 8.3%, but Sui is definitely going to be a front runner. I mean, I really do believe that. I do hold some Sui. It's not the reason I'm saying that, but it's an opportunity for people to basically get into Solana by a different team and at a much lower price. And I do believe that a lot of the value associated with Solana and Solana-based assets are going to flow into Sui. And I believe that they're going to flow into other chains, of course, like Cardano and others. And that's what I believe. And we can see it on chain to some degree. But it's currently trading at about $3. And it locally, it peaked about 2 months ago at $5.35. And its all-time low was just 36 cents. That was about a year ago. So it's up 736% since then. These other projects on Solana are nowhere near. They're just nowhere near the performance. And I do believe that Sui is likely going to continue rising. I just do. And I believe that a lot of the trash, a lot of the meme coin garbage, all of that stuff is probably going to flow into Sui, Cardano, and some of the others on this list, because that's just where we're at. That's what we're looking at. Now, before I get into some of the other top tokens that I really believe are going to absorb the market, make sure you check out LegacyNetwork.io. They are a sponsor of my channel. And if you support my sponsors, well, that supports me. And ultimately, it helps us all because it makes me want to do more content. But level up your relationships, career, health, and skills with Legacy Academy's fun gamified learning. This really is a fun app, folks. I'm not just saying that. It's a fun app. It's a gamified system that basically teaches you about whatever you want to learn about. That's really what this is all about. You want to learn about having better relationships. You want to learn about finance. You want to learn about your career and how to improve yourself as an individual or as an employee or as somebody that's self-employed. You're going to get all of that and more right here on Legacy Network. So make sure you check it out. And if you really get wrapped up in the app and you love what you're learning and you love the way it's all structured, then you can pick up some of their tokens. They're available now. Yeah, you can use your tokens for a lot of different fun stuff within the app, within the community. And I encourage you to check it out. Let me know in the chat how many of you have downloaded the Legacy app. It is Legacy Academy. How many of you downloaded that and are trying it and like it? I'd love for you to let me know in the chat, okay? LegacyNetwork.io. Go check that out. Now, next on this list is Virtuals Protocol. Now, if we look at Virtuals Protocol over the last year, you can see it was all the way down to like 10 cents for the longest part. We got into July, August, September. Didn't really move that much. This is basically, it almost looked like Kopi token. Okay, I mean, seriously, it kind of looked like Kopi token. Has a lot more, I mean, it's been much more valuable, but you can see all the way here. I mean, this was trading 2 cents, 3 cents. It's basically what we're seeing from Kopi token right now. And then boom, lift off. It just started cranking. It got all the way up with the AI narrative. It got all the way up to $4.61. Doesn't sound so crazy when I say Kopi could hit $2. This happened over the course of, so that's January 1. It literally peaked January 1, 2025. And I mean, you're talking a matter of a few months. Okay. So, you know, it got to 5 cents in October, November, December, January. In 3 months, it went from a matter of pennies to $5. And you guys don't think that Kopi token can hit $2 at the peak of a cycle? I think you're a little crazy. Now, that did peak, and it's all the way back down here to $1. Now, looking at this price action, man, like, you know, I believe that the market is being intentionally chopped up. Like I said, I think that the degens are being phased out. I think that a lot of people that aren't here for any good reason, you know, they're just degenning into trash, trying to make a quick buck off of the backs of their neighbors. I think those people are being weeded out right now. And I think that as we get closer to May, we're gonna see a reversal, and I think that the reversal is going to happen in a way that people don't expect. Now, Virtuals Protocol, if you're not familiar with it, is basically an AI launch pad on Base Network. And it's pretty powerful, man. And, you know, there's a new one in town from Dega that I'm going to be covering here in the not so distant future. They launched, but they wanted to keep their launch limited, so I didn't promote it. Even though I'm trying to launch my own version of it with Dega and the team. So that's coming hopefully this week, but we'll see. You know, they're super busy and there's like a lot going on. And, but you know, in this day and age with AI just taking over everything, Virtuals Protocol, here's the thing. And I want to make sure that people understand this. When you're talking about something like Virtuals, this isn't necessarily just about the token itself. With Virtuals, you have to stake, you have to have a number of Virtuals token to basically launch these AI agents, right? That's what ultimately pushes the price up. But this is always going to be dependent upon the actual value of the agents themselves. And we're reaching a point where constantly we're seeing an evolution of AI agents. You've got Eliza, and you've got all, like, Eliza's pretty badass, honestly, and I feel like the sky's the limit. But we're seeing some of what's possible with these AI agents on Twitter and what they do and how smart they can be and what they're capable of. Some of them are trading automatically for people. Some of them are just social agents, so forth. And I think there's a lot of use case for these agents. And I've got a lot of big plans for mine. But the reality is that the token valuation is always going to be dependent upon the limitations of the agents themselves that are launched on that platform. If it's gimmicky, then it's not going to do very well for very long. And so, but this technology is changing week to week. It's getting better and better and better. And I do believe that Virtuals is likely going to do pretty well. When it comes to AI agents and AI tokens, I think Virtuals is probably going to absorb some of the others that don't perform as well as the rest. That's what I do think. So we'll see, but you know, we'll see. Next on this list is Ondo. Now, Ondo, this is a big one, man. Ondo is a DeFi primitive that enables users to originate risk-isolated fixed yield loans backed by yield-generating crypto assets. It's unique because it's a permissionless protocol that allows users to interact on a peer-to-pool basis with no intermediaries. And there's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening with Ondo, and I hold some Ondo. I think this is going to be a pretty big one. I think this is going to be a banger. You know, when the market kind of turns back around, man, hopefully sooner than later, because it's really hard to do content when the market's just down every time you look at your phone. But, you know, and I'm like, you know, putting it into perspective is a pretty good idea, which is why I'm doing this video. Next on this list is XRP. And I know XRP Army, you're big, you're bold, you're beautiful. And it's just doing really well. But, you know, again, we peaked out here at like 331. We're currently trading down to 246, down 3.7% over the last 24 hours. And we're kind of hanging idle. You know what I mean? It's like everything in the market is waiting. And its all-time high was $3.40. That was 7 years ago. Came pretty close to that. $3.31. Most recently, so it almost hit its original all-time high. And I just think that this is probably going to be a banger in this market cycle, honestly. I'm very bullish on Ondo. I'm bullish on XRP. I've got some of both. And yeah, next on this list, obviously, Cardano. I mean, obviously the reason most of us are here. It's been performing pretty decently. I mean, at a local top of $1.23. Obviously been working its way down like everything else in the market. Do I think that was the peak? No, I think this is the calm before the storm. And I believe, and we're used to seeing a lot of this kind of activity, right? I mean, you know, if you look at some of these drops in the last bull cycle, you know, you can see like this went from $1.34 and then came all the way down. It's really hard to like move this. It's hard to move that, but you know, you had this one peak and it came down all the way down to $1.06. It's hard to move on this to show, but basically we get a lot of these ebbs and flows, right? And if you compare some of these bull market drops to like what's happening now, it's very minute. I mean, it's very small. And I'm just, you know, I'm not overly concerned right now. It sucks, but volume is growing. Okay. Look at this. This is volume. The price was 77 cents. The volume is $448 billion or $448 million. Volume is higher now at a lower price point, 671. That's because people are buying it. They're accumulating. They're buying these dips. And I do believe that Cardano is going to be one of the biggest bangers of 2025 once we get closer to May. And I mean that because so much is changing about what's happening with the price, what's happening in the market. We're waiting on like the legal ramifications of what's coming. And I do believe that this is going to be a big banger. And, you know, this is what I was talking about with Grayscale filing for the first Cardano ETF. 1 minute, they're all like, you know, on their knees for Solana in the Solana ecosystem. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, you know what? Shit. You know, I don't think we're really going to be able to avoid the fact that Cardano is going to be one of the biggest bangers in 25. Grayscale to offer the first ever Cardano ETF to track the ADA token. And this was February 11th. Okay, so we know that these institutions are basically trying to they're going to be in Cardano big. We know this. Everybody knows this, especially now that the SEC has dropped that case that named Cardano and some of the other assets as securities and all that. That narrative is played out. It's not going to work anymore. And, you know, when you're talking about long-term holds, you know, Cardano is one of those things that, I mean, it pays you to hold it, basically. So the longer you hold it, the more of it you're making and you're generating passively. And that's a really big deal. So, you know, Cardano's my biggest holding flat out. And so, you know, it is what it is. And if you're looking to hold your crypto assets long term, if you're looking to hold them for retirement and you want to get some solid tax advantages out of it, check out iTrust Capital, link in the description below. If you go to the site, I encourage you to click this tax advantages button so that you can kind of understand like what are some of the tax advantages associated with holding your crypto assets and even trading your crypto assets from within a Roth IRA with iTrust Capital. Low cost, no monthly fee. You can buy and sell your crypto, gold and silver 24/7 from within. And yeah, $12 billion in transactions and 200,000 plus accounts on iTrust Capital currently. Make your retirement funds work for you. And you know, here's the thing, folks, and I mean this sincerely. I don't care what your short-term goals are in crypto, right? It doesn't matter what your short-term goals are. If you are putting a little aside for retirement, setting up a Roth IRA, it doesn't mean you need to dump your entire portfolio into it. But I would highly encourage people to talk to your accountant, talk to a rep at iTrust about dollar cost averaging between now and 2030. And maybe someday I'll do a video on what that could potentially mean for somebody, but DCAing over the course of, you know, between now and 2030, if you're over the age of 55, is a really big deal. And I really encourage you guys to check this out. There are a lot of partners, institutional grade custody with Fidelity, Digital Assets, Wells Fargo, Fireblocks, Coinbase Prime. I mean, I would honestly think that, I guess I should say my opinion is that these guys are best in class for what they do, but I don't know anybody else that does it, especially does it and has been doing it for as long as they have. So make sure you check out iTrust Capital, and do yourself a favor. Next on this list is Chainlink. And here's the thing. I know, you know, some of you might say, oh, Crow's just going over a lot of these old school coins, man. Like where's the new? But I don't really think the money's going to be flowing as much into the new as you think, because the picture has been painted, and the painting and the writing on the wall is that, you know, if we're talking about the degeneracy in the crypto space, we've seen so many projects rise and fall. And I think that it's this once bit, twice shy thing. Anybody that got into the crypto space got into Solana because they were watching some asshole talk about it. You know, oh, it's going to go up. It's going to go up. You look at this and look at that and look at the volume and look at all these basically bogus metrics, which they never say. They all know it. They all know it. Listen, I'm going to tell you straight up. There isn't an influencer on YouTube that doesn't know and isn't fully aware of all of the fake numbers. There isn't one. Because if there is a YouTuber in the space that knows all of the truth, has seen all of the data, and they're not talking about it and they're still trying to promote it, then either A, they hold way too much Solana and they should probably get out so they can get their integrity back, or B, they're just oblivious and they really don't know shit other than what they watch on their favorite YouTuber's channel. And they're just regurgitating it because it's just good for views. That's really what I think. It's like, it sucks because there are some people that promote Solana that I think are actually pretty cool people, but you know, it's like you suck too at the same time. Like I question your integrity if you're still promoting Solana after everything that's come out about it. I just feel like you're setting people up for disappointment, as some people are learning now. Like, I mean, you know, Solana's down, I think, more than pretty much most other assets in blockchain right now, outside of like the straight memes that are getting rugged constantly. But anyway, Chainlink, I think, is going to be another big narrative. I really do. I know it's older, and but it's still around for a reason. And that's the point of me talking about this stuff. these projects are still here for a reason. The majority of them are here for more legitimate reasons than like they just fudged all their numbers and they did a lot of smoke screening and kept people out of the real data. Like Polkadot, I don't think Polkadot is going to be a huge winner, but I also don't think it's going to be a loser. It was up $10.64 recently, and that was just December, and it's come down for a correction here at like $4.68. I mean, it's taken a hit, right? It has taken a hit, but it's still alive, well, and kicking, and I think it's going to continue growing as the market continues turning around. Polygon Matic currently trading at 28 cents. Man, this is difficult. All-time high of around $3. That was 3 years ago. It was a fraction of a penny when it launched 6 years ago. But this is something that I think is going to absorb some of the degeneracy in the space. This is just, because people look at it and they're going to say, you know what, the price isn't taking off. But it's also, it's a lot more trusted than a lot of other stuff out there. Cosmos, Atom, trading at $4.64. I remember when this thing kicked off, man. And I think I had some for a while, or I can't remember where I got out. But all-time high, $44.45. It's down about 90% still. That was 3 years ago. All-time low of $1 about 5 years ago. It's come back and it's been hanging, just kind of hanging out in a range for the most part. It pumped when everything else pumped in December. It pumped up $10, $10.42. So there you go. Hyperliquid. Now this is basically going to be one you're probably not overly familiar with. It's currently trading at $21.44. And Hyperliquid is performant enough to operate an entire ecosystem of permissionless financial applications. Every order, cancel, trade, and liquidation happens transparently on chain. This is a performant L1 optimized from the ground up. The vision is a fully on-chain open financial system with user-built applications interfacing with performant native components, all without compromising end-user experience. All-time high, $34.96. That was 2 months ago. All-time low, $3.81. That was 3 months ago. And it's doing pretty well. This is probably going to be a banger to some extent. Check that out if you're not familiar with it, because that's probably going to be pretty cool. BitTensor trading at $433. I just don't see a lot of the retail market like just clamoring to get into this, but I do believe that a lot of the whales are probably going to be dumping into this at some point. All-time high $757 with a low of $30. And it's an open source protocol that utilizes blockchain technology to create a decentralized machine learning network. This is a big deal. Machine learning is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. This network enables machine learning models to train collaboratively and be rewarded in TAO according to the informational value they offer the collective. This is going to be a big deal, man. Whether you know much about like AI, machine learning, and how they play a role together, I'm telling you right now, BitTensor is probably going to be a pretty big deal, especially as the market continues just growing and growing and growing in the AI space. So keep your eye on TAO, BitTensor. It's probably going to be a banger this year. It really is. And this on the list, man. People are gonna be like, yeah, right. But Vechain. I mean, listen, man, Vechain's volume, 24-hour trading volume of $43.5 million a day. People are trading this and people like it. A local high of 7 cents. And listen, at one point, this was all the way up. What was this? 26 cents? Hold on. 28 cent all-time high. That was about 4 years ago. I mean, you see them advertising and partnering with UFC and things like that. And, I know a lot of people were just accumulating the shit out of this. What was the low? The low was a fraction of a penny. And I remember, like, I always call him my liberal friend, George, who blocked me. He blocked me before the election because I predicted everything that was happening. And he got so frustrated, he just basically like left. and block me. Hasn't said a word. He hasn't said a word. I literally predicted every single little thing that happened leading up to the election. And I did it like a year before it all happened. And the further we got, and the more, every time something happened, I'm like, see, told you, called that. And he got so mad because guy's brilliant, man. But you know, when it comes to politics, he was absolutely clueless. All he knew were the headlines and whatever his wife told him is basically what it boiled down to. But anyway, he was a big whale. Well, I don't know how big of a whale he was, but I know he had a shit ton of Vechain, or Vechain tokens at a fraction of a penny. And I remember him saying, like, man, if this just gets to $1, I'm going to be a gazillionaire. And of course, it never got that high. Came close, but I do believe that it's going to have its day, along with everything else. I mean, this is a better pick than any meme coin, I would say. Not any meme coin. Some of these meme coins are definitely performing well. But yeah. Now, this on the list, this is interesting, folks, because this is Apex Fusion trading on LBank right now. And if you look at Apex Fusion, I posted about it. It was about 17 cents when I posted about it, and it's currently up to about 25 cents right now. It's up 15% on the day. And I do believe this is going to continue growing. This just launched on exchanges. And I know a lot of people were saying, "Oh, Crow, I can't get on LBank because of this, that." I think they may have changed it, but I also know that there are several other exchanges coming, and I know because I'm helping them get kind of locked into some of them, just from my exchange contacts. And so we'll see. I know that there are going to be more and more listings coming, and Apex Fusion is just going to continue growing, in my opinion. And if you don't know, basically Apex Fusion is kind of like it's like a new generation of Cardano, but it's not as decentralized. You still have a node. You can stake to my node and you do want to delegate. You want to delegate your Apex to a node, but it all operates very much like Cardano. Basically, is what it boils down to. But there's no like constitution. There's no like governance. It uses more of a reputation system instead, and it's a little more streamlined, effectively, than Cardano. So if you want, I'm gonna be real honest with you about how I look at Apex Fusion, right? When it comes to like world changing tech, and when it comes to just like what I believe is effectively going to be like flip the market on its head, it's Cardano, hands down. And even people on the Apex team will agree with me. But Apex is my I'm not going to say D-gen play. Like I believe that Apex offers a lot. Like I really do believe that Apex is going to continue growing, expanding on what they do, and like all of this stuff. Because I mean, the team itself is made up of like former IOHK folks, Polygon, like all people from all the different top ecosystems have come together to build Apex and basically say, okay, well, we really love this, but we don't like that. And so they just basically built a new version of Cardano, stripping what they didn't like and impact and, you know, magnifying what they did, or keeping what they liked. And so that's what Apex Fusion effectively is. And so I look at it as like, this is the project that I'm into for the money. I'm just going to be honest. Where Cardano, it's like, yes, I expect to do well being a Cardano holder, but I'm also trying to, I've been a proponent of Cardano long before the money was like a thing, right? And so I'm a big believer in Cardano for a multitude of reasons, of which you all know. And I'm into Apex because I think it, you know, if we can have two Cardanos that run differently for different reasons, well, then that's a big win to me. So yeah, Apex Fusion, it's up and it's doing pretty well since it's launched. Normally when a token launches, it launches and then just crashes and it's worth like a third of what it was. No, Apex is growing and it's been doing pretty well. So I'm happy to see that. And then the last one on this list, it doesn't look so hot right now, but I still absolutely do believe in in Cornucopias. You know, back in March when Bitcoin peak, Copy token went all the way up to about 11 cents and its volume was solid and everything was good. volume's been super low. I mean, you would think that Cornucopias is a dead project right now. I mean, let's be real. This token has not moved, it has not done jack shit in so long. And I understand why, but it's just not doing very well. And I do believe that that's going to turn around, though. I really do believe that Cornucopias is going to turn around, and it's going to do well, and it's going to absorb a lot of the token value from projects like, and I'm a big holder. I have a lot of Copi token, and I haven't sold it, and I have no plans on selling it. But I do believe it's going to do well when the market really starts to run, because the projects out there that are just not performing extremely well, like Sand, Mana, these other kind of, metaverse, if you will, kind of projects, these blockchain gaming platforms, like none of them can hold a candle to Cornucopias, man. It's just to build a game as big in scope as Cornucopias is. I mean, man, these games can take 7-8 years to develop. Cornucopias has been around a few years, and we're just not seeing the token price go anywhere just yet, because there's not a lot that utilizes it. And that's just the fact of the matter. Like it's coming, it's going to happen. And I really think that as people continue to accumulate, they're going to be very, very, very grateful that they accumulated at the prices that, I mean, it's a huge window of opportunity for Copi token people. And there's going to be a day when those, just like I showed you, I forget what asset it was, but I showed you just in a matter of 3 months, man, something can go from a couple of pennies to like $5. So, and that's probably going to be something similar to what happens to Copi token when they really kick shit into gear and they're really doing stuff that is going to draw in the masses. And the token has a direct series of use cases. And I know that you're going to be able to buy like ad space within the Cornucopias world using Copi tokens. There are a lot of things that they're going to be using the token for, but you need the player base, right? And some of the most sticky the most sticky elements of Copi aren't even in the game yet. The primary one for me is when you're able to start building your land, right? Building your housing, building your businesses, building whatever you're going to build. That's what I've been waiting on forever, like since the beginning. So, and it's going to come. But anyway, I'm going to show you this trading bot for any of you Python people out there. Now, I was basically asking, like, what is the best trading platform? What is the best trading strategy? Blah, blah, blah. And this is just kind of it was explaining a lot of different stuff, right? And I'm not going to go through all of it, but I'm going to show you basically what the summarization of this was. The deep learning based strategy, particularly the CNN-LSTM with Baruda feature selection, stands out with a back-tested return of 6,653% over 729 days, approximately 2 years, equating to an annualized return of approximately 722%. This is basically a deep learning strategy that utilizes deep learning and AI to an extent. The deep learning based strategy leverages on-chain data and advanced predictive models to forecast Bitcoin price predictions. The CNN, I hate saying that, the CNN LSTM model combined with Baruda feature selection achieved an accuracy of 82.44%, outperforming other models. And then it goes into all the different models and everything that it was beating out. And the conclusion is this is it. Like, this is the, I've dealt and done a lot of stuff with algorithmic trading, automated trading, and I've been telling you guys I really want to get into like utilizing AI and deep learning. And this is basically like, this is it. This is what you got to build. And so I had then asked him, I said, what is deep learning? What is the deep learning model? CNN LSTM with Baruda, and it breaks down exactly what it is, what it does. I'm going to post this link in my Telegram group for people. So if you guys are a member, you guys can just go straight to this chat. But after all of this, it explains everything. I said, okay, so how can I implement this myself? and it told me, man, it told me all of the libraries, everything that I need, the code, all of this. And so you know what I did? I went over to Replit, and I literally just copied from step one. I copied all of this. I threw it into Replit and I hit go, and it built the whole damn thing. But it did not ask me for my Glassnode API. In order for this to be really effective, you really need like something like Glassnode. Unfortunately, that's like $1,000 freaking dollars a month, man. I was so bummed, and I'm like, I'm not paying $1,000 a month for API data. I'm not saying it's not worth it. I'm not saying it's not valuable. And it would be more worth it if I were trading like $100,000 worth of Bitcoin or something like that, but I'm not. I don't trade that much money on automated platforms until it's really, really proven. And so I'm like, man, if I could get an API from Glassnode to like experiment with this and really build this out, and I had somebody that was really familiar. I thought about trying to build this with like Cursor, because something tells me I'd probably be a little more effective with Cursor than Replit. But yeah, man, this is what I was asking about on Twitter, because I want help. I want help building this out, and I want to try and find an alternative to Glassnode's $1,000 a month API to build this. So yeah, I posted this, I'm going to post this. I'm not sure if I posted it yet or not, but yeah, that's the bot. And I think that could be really, really beneficial for people, man. So if I can get it up and running, and I can get it running with some API data that really, really works to get this deep learning model going and growing and learning, and man, because the thing is that the deep learning model it's all about understanding how on-chain metrics affect price, how sentiment affects price, how all these other things that we don't look at in the charts alone actually affect the price. And there's a lot of data out there that the bot will look at and quantify and learn to predict using the way it changes up, that we just don't think about. And that's the whole point, and that's why it's so successful, and that's why I want to build the damn thing. So yeah, I need some Python help, folks. You started looking into ICP, whatever happened? I still like ICP, man, but for whatever reason, it just seems to. Here's the thing about ICP for me personally. I wanted to try and I set off at one point where I want to learn how to build a website and store it in a canister, and I want it to be completely decentralized, and it's so goddamn hard. I mean, it was just like so difficult. And I was looking at like tutorials and trying to get this, that, and I'm like, it was just really not easy. And I'm like, listen, until this is more streamlined, and it's to put it into perspective, like with AI agents, right? I really wanted to build like an Eliza agent, and I wanted to like really get into that, but it's so impossible for somebody that like a layman's to get set up, somebody that's not a Python programmer because I watch all these bullshit tutorials on YouTube, right? And I'm following these tutorials, and then I come to realize they're leaving half of the shit out. They're trying to get a quick clickbait video out on YouTube that basically covers half of what you need to know. And nothing pisses me off more than everybody's doing it. And they're just trying to capitalize on like the idea of Eliza. And I'm just like, you know what? All these tutorials are trash, and they're all leaving out all the stuff. They're expecting you to already be like, to have a full development, environment and all this other stuff. And that's the way I kind of looked at ICP. It's like, but now you've got these AI launch pads, these AI bot launch pads that you click, 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 and you're launching it. When ICP gets me something like that, where I can effectively build a website that's stored like it's a decentralized storage system, maybe if ICP were to, I don't know, maybe there's something that can be done with Iagon. I don't know, something that allows, I would love to have websites that are 100% decentralized, and it's not stored on like some cloud-based system like Google or any of these like cloud-based systems. I would be all about that. And to be able to launch technology the way I'd like to using ICP, that would be a huge catalyst. But for right now, it's just still not really a possibility. And I think until it is, I see ICP still struggling. That's just what I think. And it's my own personal opinion. I still like ICP for what it is and what the potential is. But from a use case perspective, I just still don't think it's there. I'm not saying that the token won't do well, because as long as ICP is around, I think it's going to continue doing well in bull markets. I just think that there are going to be a lot of other things out there that kind of take its thunder. Oh yeah, somebody sent me this shirt. Hydro drip, will you rise with the flow or drown beneath it? And then they used a couple of like the Murder of Crows NFT crows. And I'm like, yeah, cool shirt, man. Like, I'll wear it. So thanks for sending it to me. So listen, this is an hour-long video, and if it gets any longer, nobody will watch it at all. I want my Murder of Crows themed Iagon node. I know, I think it's going to be in the second batch. They sent me a message. They're like, hey, do you want us to send you like a current batch of the Cyclone? Or do you, and then like you just buy yours, like when we launch your themed version? And I'm like, yeah, because I want one of these things. I want it sitting on my bookshelf. I want to put it right behind me and plug that puppy in and get it cranking. I want you guys to be able to see it every time I do a video. And then I'll just replace that with the Crow version when I buy that one. So they're sending me one for free, and then I'm buying the other one, apparently. Maybe if they send me the first one and then like, you know, like they sell a bunch of them, and then they'll be like, you know what, Crow, here's your other one. We're going to send you that one too. We're not going to make you buy it. But these things are going to be powerful ass computers, man. And I'm actually kind of curious, like what sort of large language model might be capable of running on one of these things. So yeah. And I don't know, there's a lot of fun to be had with one of these puppies. So I can't wait to get one. The weight is excruciating. You know, the weight of this market is excruciating. Every time I look at my phone, I want to go back to sleep. I can't believe it's the institutions, man. I mean, they're trying to push everybody out. And I know that they're just buying in bulk over the counter, and they're accumulating. Don't let anybody fool you. They're accumulating. But, yeah, it is what it is. We just have to wait it out. You know, my wife is real big in astrology and all kinds of stuff, and she's telling me that next month is going to be absolutely huge for me. And I'm like, man, I hope so. I really hope so, because I'm concerned to an extent. It's not a matter of like if everything really starts cranking, but it's a matter of when. And it's like, you know, at some point I'm going to be running on fumes, and I'm just like, I don't want to have to like start selling some of my portfolio just to survive, right? I really don't. And I'm trying to avoid that as best I can. But, you know, in order to do that, I need to be doing probably more videos and get more sponsors. And you know, it's just not that easy. It's not that easy being green. So listen, folks, thanks for joining me. Hopefully this video kind of helps you a little bit and points you in the direction of some tokens you might want to look into. I really do believe that a lot of these listed, or a lot of the projects that I talked about here, are going to absorb a lot of the shit in the market, a lot of that liquidity, a lot of that money. And if you break it down, you know, a lot of people say, oh, there's like 30 million tokens, and there's like so many millions of tokens being created every day, and all the money's being spread thin. Folks, it's a bullshit narrative. Like, these tokens typically don't even last 15 minutes. And, you know, there's a reason why like CoinGecko and some of these other these platforms, they only list stuff that's legitimate or more legitimate, I guess you could say. And a lot of these tokens that are being created, man, they mean nothing, they do nothing, and they never amount to anything. So they really can't be added to the overall equation of where the total market capitalization is headed, or where it's going, or where it's at, or any of that. It shouldn't really play a role. It's really going, I really believe that for the most part, whatever's in the top 100 today is likely going to stay there, with a few instances of like swapping out for a new up and comer. But I really do think like the higher you go up into the top, you know, 100 of the cryptocurrency market cap, that's probably we're going to be the majority of everything else is going to flow into in this cycle. You know, hey man, the cream rises to the top. And some of the stuff that's the cream rises to the top if it's like legitimate. right? In my opinion, the stuff that's not so legitimate is going to hurt, and it's going to drain, and it's probably going to really take a dive and continue diving. But we'll see what happens. I could be right or could be wrong. I'm always right sometimes. So until next time, thanks for joining me on this Monday afternoon, and crow your coins, and I'll see you soon. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I am the Crypto Crow, and I Trust Capital is a sponsor of my channel, and I'm actually very, very grateful. They're a company that I've been watching for quite some time now, for several years, grow in the space. And if you're holding cryptocurrency assets for the long term, for retirement, this is definitely something you're going to want to look into. There are a lot of tax benefits associated with I Trust Capital's Roth IRA and other accounts, and you're going to want to need to check those out. You can look at the tax advantages right here in this little link. There's a description below. The question you're probably asking yourself is, well, why would I need that? This new administration coming in is pro-crypto, and they're talking about getting rid of capital gains tax, or at the very least, getting rid of capital gains tax on U.S.-based cryptocurrency projects. But what if you invest in projects that aren't in that list? What if none of those changes happen at all? So we can't really count on that. And I've been looking for alternatives to things like moving to Puerto Rico, which we know that didn't work out well for me, and just doing things that can help me alleviate some of the tax pressure on the assets that I accumulate and the way that I trade and the way that I live my life. I encourage you to check out I Trust Capital. I've had many talks with them. I trust them. I do believe that what they're doing is going to help a lot of people benefit in retirement. There are a lot of tax benefits associated with it, and you really should check it out. At the very least, make sure you're aware of what asset tools are available to benefit you when the time is right. I've got my short-term bags. I've got my long-term bags, and I'm putting my long-term bags with I Trust Capital.